Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Bruce again. Been away for some time, been rather busy on work, etc. and family life. I've just jumped out the shower, hence the slick back hair. I'm not trying to look like Robert Palmer. I should be so lucky. So yeah, welcome back. There's quite a bit to catch up on. There's a lot for me to be doing over the summer. First and foremost, having a huge purge here of my vinyl. I'm simply overrun by it at the moment. I've got some at my feet at the moment. If I try and stand up, I'm going to fall over. There is so much that I've been buying in quite a bit. Today I'm hoping to show you a vinyl jazz haul, which I made about 3 months ago. I mentioned it, I think, on my last posting, but just didn't get time. There's a lot to get through. I do have one or two other bits as well. I've got an upgrade to show. Perhaps we'll go with that one first. See what you feel. I have to say that before I show you all these jazz things, I have sort of cherry picked, you know, the best of the batch. There's other stuff I just consider it extraneous. Probably won't keep any of it. Some of this is good, the bad, and the ugly. Anyway, let's start up. A charity shop find I made quite by chance about a month ago was just purely it's one of those impulse buys based on the sleeve alone, and I think you'll see what I mean. A very unusual sleeve, this one. Very alluring lady in a red hat there. Hope you can see that. So this one is called Nina Rota, who I believe was a composer, an Italian who composed for Fellini movies. And this one here features some notable jazz people like Jackie Bayard is on here, Carla Bley, I think even Blondie make an appearance. So this well, I was going to say soundtrack. It's kind of their renditions of his music. I think this appeared in about 1981. This is on the old French Hannibal. I'll put that there. I hope that comes into focus. I won't flash it up too fast. The old Hannibal label. This one's a French import. You know, really interesting stuff. Very unusual. Some of it conceptual. Probably a keeper. Just a great find. That I think it cost me £1. So there you are. It didn't break the bank, that one. There we are. So. I also made a purchase for the first time, bid and won on eBay. Not my habit, not at all. And I was the only bidder. Don't know why. This was a bit of a sleeper, this one, I guess. It's a terrific album. The cover, mind-blowing. It's Uncle Meat by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. I think this one was originally, again, a film soundtrack. Whether or not the film was ever made, I know he did 200 Motels a few years later, but I'm not sure this one was ever made. Let me show you the inside of the gatefold there. You can see all those rather bizarre images of the band. This is a double. It's, I believe, an original or a very early press thereabouts. It's on the old Bizarre label. There we are. I'll hold that one up there. Hopefully that's got into focus for you. Yeah. I wonder though, once I got it, of course, I didn't really do my homework. This was originally issued with a booklet, I think a 12-page colour booklet, nothing inside, so don't know if anyone in the vinyl community's got a spare Uncle Meat booklet, but do let me know if you have. But yeah, terrific music. I think there's even what is it, Mr. Green Jeans, there we are. He revived that, I believe, on his classic Hot Rats album. So there's an early rendition on here. Recommended if you like that kind of out there stuff. Moving on to my upgrade. If you're a regular viewer of my rather sparse channel, you'll know that I'm a big Traffic guy. Recently I upgraded this album, The Low Spark of High Heel Boys from 1971. I love that sort of bizarre angular die cut, you know, geometric sleeve design. This is my original copy. It's an 80s press, or should I say a repress, on that old, there we are, on the old, I think they call that the Midnight Palm Tree label from, yeah, that will be an early 80s repress. But I couldn't resist a near mint upgrade of the original first press. There we are. You can see there's a few differences there with the rear sleeve, but the big difference again being on the label, and this is indeed the pink palm tree. There we are, pink rim, I think they call that, don't they? Palm tree label. I love that label, but as friends always tell me, Bruce, it's about the music, don't get too hung up on labels. Of course, yeah, this one comes with the inner, there you get that funny cubic sort of design on the inner sleeve. So yeah, really happy to get that one. It's features, it's got some lovely songs. Is it their best album? I think a lot of critics, you know, put it top of the polls, you know, so far as Traffic are concerned. I like it. I think it's a great album. It's kind of, I find it slightly sleepier. Perhaps the songwriting doesn't quite hit the heights of things like John Barleycorn or Traffic, the eponymous second album. But a great lineup, probably the best lineup they ever had. If you can see there, top and middle, they're grinning in the background. Very sadly, we've got the late great Jim Gordon, who died a few months ago, who had his own demons to deal with, sadly. Anyway, let's move on to the Jazz Hall. Now, this one got me started. This was out in a charity shop local to me on the shop floor, and I thought, okay, most of these cost me £1.50. I thought I'll take a punt on this one. And there you can see it's, I hesitate to say it's. Here he's top of the bill, Andre Previn, but originally this series of albums I think began with Shelly Manne, the drummer, as top of the bill. They weren't terribly good, not in my view. This easily the you know, the masterpiece, if you can call it, of Previn's jazz output. Yeah, sure, he's a little bit tinkly. He's got that classical bent. Is he a natural jazz pianist? Probably not. He doesn't have much soul in his playing, but boy, he really digs deep on this one. You know, some great arrangements here of West Side Story, the great Bernstein musical. I love the cover as well, but this was unfortunately the last one, so he went out with a bang, and then he went over to that. I just don't deal with his classical and soundtrack output. It's too schmaltzy for me. Anyway, so that one got me interested, and then I asked at the counter in the shop, do you have any more records? And the lady there kindly ushered me into the basement, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Most of it piles of Des O'Connor and Mantovani, music for pleasure, you know, just lying around willy-nilly. I mean, piles of it. I had to sweat a bit and dig down. But then, just as I was about to give up, the lady said, "Oh, have you tried round the corner, around the back there? They had a table I couldn't see. Everything was obscured." I went round there, and there was all this jazz stuff. So I thought, wow, I'll have a look. I'll show you a couple of 10 inches I bought first. My heart sort of leapt, and then it sank within a nanosecond when I found this one, Miles Davis. This one is on the Esquire label. It's probably mid-50s. It's an old 10 inch. 10 inches didn't even make it into the 60s, so it's definitely somewhere in the 50s. There we are. It's the old Esquire British label. But unfortunately this one has had, how can I put it, you know, it's had quite a long life. It's not been well loved, or rather too well loved. It's got a classic lineup. You can see there people like J.J. Johnson and Horace Silver on that one. So I was very happy to acquire that. This one also, another great record. Max Roach there with Clifford Brown. This is on the old Vogue, again the UK release. These would have all been originally obviously released in US. There we are. I hope you can see that label there, the old Vogue label. This one is slightly, well, I think they're much the same actually. Covers a little bit tatty, you can see around the edges. It's been pretty well played, that one, but anyway. Now, talking about conditioning, you know, an upgrade, this one, I picked it up, I mean, Charles Erlen, this thing's like new, you know, off the factory floor, astonishing. It really is mint. And it's on the old, it's Black Talk, sorry, the title of that one is Black Talk. There we are, you can see it's a very late prestige American original. So yeah, soul jazz. Guy does, you know, groovy Hammond organ stuff. He's got people like Idris Muhammad on drums, Houston Person on tenor sax. Oh look, and he does Aquarius. Of course he does. Why wouldn't you? You know, this was probably up 1971, so hair still very much, you know, hip at that time. I got some Charlie Parker here. There we are. So this is a British, again, pressing. It's Saga Pan, which I assume is a sort of amalgamation of what were Saga Records and Pantonic Records, who again were based in London, mainly reissue label. Obviously this is reissue stuff after the fact, but you've got, you know, classics like Perdido, Salt Peanuts, of course, the great Dizzy Gillespie there on trumpet, Bud Powell, Charles Mingus, Max Roach. Wow, you know, what a classic lineup. More Clifford Brown. It does it with strings on this album. Can get a bit sort of saccharine at times, this stuff, but the arrangements are very, very good, and this guy could really play. You know, he really was a tour de force as a trumpeter. I particularly like Willow Weep for Me, which is a great tune anyway on here. This is probably an 80s European. There you are, it's a Dutch press, that one. We've got some more Freddie Hubbard coming up here. There's a double. I won't open it. It's a gatefold, but you can see it's sealed. It's still in the shrink there. Well, it hasn't been sealed. The seal's broken, but I don't want to really get the shrink off yet. This is one of those Toofers. It's a reissue. I'm not sure which albums these are. Let me show you side one there, but you can see it's that dark blue Blue Note 1970s label. So I was really happy to find that one. Let's move on. Yeah, from the sublime to the slightly less sublime, I'll let you draw your conclusions. Dizzy Gillespie, The Melody Lingers On. Slightly suspect title. Looking down the, you know, track listing here, number 1, Winchester Cathedral. I don't know what Dizzy was thinking when he did this stuff, but yeah, this is not a keeper. It's on the Limelight. It's a British Philips, you know, Mercury Limelight. There you can see that. I hope that label there. What is this? It's 67, so there you are. It's Dizzy Does Pops. I think whenever, you know, great jazz men try to tackle, you know, hits of the day, at best they got these, you know, how can I put it, varying degrees of success. This really doesn't, you know, hit the mark for me. This one, wow, when I saw this and the price I paid for it, I was really quite taken aback. You know, I thought, wow, in this pile, buried, as I say, behind this table under a pile of clothes in a charity shop in South London, I found an original Freddie Hubbard Blue Note going up. This one is. It's even got, I'll show you there quickly, the old promo, you know, company inner there. Very tatty though, you can see the edges are pretty frayed here. The vinyl reflects that, I'm afraid to say. I think this is about 61, this album. But this is what they call that deep groove. Yes, it's got the Rudy Van Gelder ear thing etched into it, etc. It's a mono edition. Unfortunately, this one is got some nasty scuffs on it and it sticks in a couple of places. I'm going to try and sort that out, see if I can do some surgery on here, but you know, that's going to take a very steady hand and a lot of space and time, which I don't have at the moment. But that was nice to find. You know, you've got Hank Mobley, McCoy Tyner, Paul Chambers, and the great Philly Joe Jones on drums. What's not to like, eh? So that one was quite an extraordinary find. Someone I'd never heard of. You know, I can see why actually. Shake key. Yeah, he's a flugelhorn player of sorts. I think he was from the Caribbean. This is called That's the Noise. Not a very inspiring title for an album. The music reflects, you know, you've got all this sort of Colours, Donovan, Downtown by Tony Hatch. It's not unusual that Tom Jones sort of crooning stuff. I don't think you can do a lot with that sort of material when it comes to jazz. It's got Stan Tracy, right? Okay, so I thought, okay, maybe a little bit, you know, more avant-garde. None of it. It is just, you know, what those titles tell you. It's very hard for me to get excited about this kind of music. It's a sort of jazz. It's a sort of jazz, but really not my not my bag. Sorry. But this is an original. I think it was never reissued from '67. I might sell that one on. This was something to get excited about. I found this one with a very taped up cover. There you can see it's called Skagley, weird title. It's got a sort of Vogue-ish sort of cover. That dates it, doesn't it? A woman with a cigar in her mouth. You can get away with that these days. Yeah, so we've got this Freddie Hubbard. But it's not really a sleeve, you see. It had tape around the edges. This is like a card promo. Yeah, that's all it is. I think this is from 1980. Yes, it's a white label test pressing. How about that? This one's near mint. You know, it's like it's never been played. So that was a delight to find. Right. I also got in here, in the pile, we've got a bit of Stan Kenton. A bit shouty on the horns. Don't know if I'll keep this one. It is an original. There we are. But Kenton, for me, can be a case of you've heard one, you've really heard, you know, nearly all of it. This is an early 60s. What is this? I can't even find a date on here. Someone can drop it down in the comments. 62. Okay, there we are. It's a 62 stereo anyway. This was a delight to find. Kenny Dorham, But Beautiful, which is But Beautiful. This guy could really play. This is gorgeous. This is one of those milestone. I think it's probably a very early 70s. Again, one of those sort of twofers, isn't it? Reissue. I haven't done my homework on exactly which albums these are from, but I've played it. It's lovely. It's just lovely stuff. Sonny Rollins, Cannonball Adderley, and Max Roach there. You can see credited on the sleeve. It doesn't have a lot. It's got a photo in there, quite a lot of writing on the gatefold. But it's a delight, that one. Another. This is a treble coming up. This has got that funny envelope opening. I won't get the discs out. Not terribly interesting. Reissue, British, Vogue, the complete Paris collection. Clifford Brown, another Clifford Brown. Haven't had time to play that one, but when I get time, I will. Moving on to the slightly more contemporary stuff. I got this Marsalis Standard Time. I didn't have any Wynton Marsalis. I remember him, you know, when I was quite young, a teenager, seeing him first with the Jazz Messengers, Art Blakey, in the mid-early 80s. You know, he's a man who can play anything, classical, a lot, extremely gifted. This is a strong album as well. It's called Standard Time, Volume 1. It's late 80s, 87, and he does things like April in Paris, Cherokee, Foggy Day, Autumn Leaves, great standards. Quartet, nice environment for him to shine in. This I haven't had time to play. This is Wynton Marsalis Quartet live at Blues Alley. It's a double. I think this is a European press. I can't tell you much about this one. I won't get it out. But anyway, I'm yet to play that. Got a little bit of Sarah Vaughan here. A Taste of Honey. There we are. She's doing some of those sort of 60s. Although she does classics like Moanin' Round Midnight on here, but this is an original mono. I thought by the it says not for sale promo there on the label, so that's kind of interesting. This is 65. I thought by the sleeve it looks like it was a live album, but I think it's actually studio, that one. Then we have more Clifford Brown here. There we are. This is probably a mid-60s. You can see there's a gatefold there. After the fact, of course, we lost Clifford, I think, about 1955. But this is a 60s Limelight, so it would have been under license probably by Philips Mercury. There we are. It's an old mono. Well, indeed, everything I think Clifford Brown recorded must have been mono, because mono stereo didn't come until I think 57. He was dead by 55. Here's an original, but of course it's a British edition of Sonny Rollins' Perspectives with the MJQ, and you've also got people like Art Blakey on there. So this was nice to find. Had a bit of play, unfortunately. I can't say this is near mint. You've got a few scuffs and light hairlines throughout on this one, but this is the old Esquire label. I'm never too sure about Esquire sleeves, really. They didn't go, they didn't push out the boat with their artwork. I think a lot of the originals, the Prestige, etc., were superior. This one, again, it's Clifford Brown. Yeah, terrific. You've got Clark Terry on here, Harold Land, Richie Powell, Junior Mounts, even Dinah Washington sings on a few numbers. This has had a real caning though. I can't do a lot with this one. It's it says it's a review copy, not for sale. Whoever the reviewer was didn't look after this. It may have been through several hands. It's got scratches throughout, I'm afraid. You can see very tatty around the loading edge as well. Nearly there. Then we've got Clifford Brown. I Remember Clifford. Obviously it's a memorial album with notes by Ian Carr. Some of you out there may know or have heard of him. He was a jazz kind of 60s and early 70s. Was it Nucleus? I think that was his band. So he writes the liner notes, obviously acknowledging the fact that Clifford Brown was something of a mentor to him as a fellow trumpeter. This is a compilation. It's got some nice stuff on here. He does Take the A Train, the great Billy Strayhorn. There you can see down the credits there. We've got another Sarah Vaughan. This is with Cannonball Adderley, who I adore. She's doing Cherokee, etc. How High the Moon. This is a 50s Embassy, British press, is it? Sorry, it's American. That's an original US press. Yeah, there's seam splits, you can see that, etc. The vinyl reflects that. It's in pretty cool shape, this one. Just a couple left. We've got Freddie Hubbard here. Interestingly, this one is called Getting It Together. This is a sort of reissue. I don't know this label, TCB, but I do know that this was originally issued as a Curtis Fuller album. So in other words, he was the leader. So this has been reissued probably 10, 15 years later as a Freddie Hubbard album, which is kind of strange. It's got Yusuf Lateef on there doing his crazy flute stuff. There's a gorgeous track called Flutie. But this is a lovely album. Really curious though how they've changed the band leader. Lastly but not leastly, we've got another Freddie Hubbard. This is an original. Red Clay. It's an early CT High, this one. This is about 1970, so it's very early on in the catalogue of CTI. You can see there the label. That's a British pressing. I think they were pressed under license by someone like Polydor. Great album. It's got some lovely numbers on there. It's, I wouldn't call it avant-garde, but it's kind of, it's got those moments where he kind of lets loose, and you can see there it's got Joe Henderson, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter and Leonard White, so a classic lineup. So a lot to go through there. That's it for now. I'm going to have a very busy summer. Hope you enjoyed that. Do drop your comments down below, and I shall hopefully see you pretty soon. Bye.